Good evening to all. Very welcome to Sri Sanjay Agarwal sir for this very important subject on organization and its dreams. Very important for the industry at large and all the participants of this today's talk on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association. I'll briefly take the opportunity to introduce Sri Sanjay Agarwal, who is the head of Encode Solutions, a division of GNFC, which is promoted by Government of Gujarat. He is a multifaceted, results-oriented IT professional offering cross-functional experience of over 28 years in organizational development, change leadership, life coaching, and execution. He has been providing training in leadership, life coaching, business vertical, technical and various soft skills for overall effective smooth functioning, including in managing software products and solutions and maintenance and support, spanning various domains with focus on cost and quality. He has managed revenue and cost centers. He has demonstrated capability in risk management, setting up of key performance indicators for various processes and driving growth with customer and employee focus attitude. With this particularly post-COVID situation, it's very important to understand the key performance indicators related to our businesses, and we are fortunate to have Sri Sanjay Agrawal Saab with a very rich experience, as I explained, for this very interesting talk. I'll take this opportunity to request Mr. Agrawal for his talk.
So, no, thanks a lot, Pandyaji, for that great introduction that you gave me, and I'm sure I'll try and live up to it. The introduction that you have given. So, thanks a lot again to give me this platform and discuss with the various AMA members onto the topics that are close to my heart. So typically into organization development, and one of them happens to be in organization and its dreams. So I'll just start dwelling into the topic directly. So let's get into organization and its dreams. Now, this title itself has two entities, and one would say we do really see an entity called organization. Where is the second entity? Second entity is really dreams. Why should I call that as entity? Mainly because uh, entity is a living being, and dreams is what we live up to. It is a very human factor, and hence I'm treating both of them as entities. Going further, so what we'll try to do is we'll try to understand both the entities first, and then try and get a correlation around them, which is an interesting one. So what is an organization? This definition you would have possibly seen somewhere, but an organization is an entity, which could be a company, an institution, an association like AMA, which has more than one people who work together to achieve the common goal. Now, it has been derived from the word organon, which is basically a tool on an instrument. So, how do these two relate? It's basically organization is a tool or an instrument to achieve the end goal, where the employees come together and work. So people coming together and working together to achieve the shared goal is what an organization would be. It is defined by the elements that are part of it as to who belongs to the organization and who does not. Basically, the employees, they become a critical element of an organization. Second is how communication happens from an organization. Basically, the way organization presents itself, and to the wider world. That is why this becomes a very critical aspect of brand building, and you would see a corporate communications department typically in an organization which will make sure that the communication which is going out of the organization represents the brand. The next one is its autonomy, uh, and and basically the rules of action compared to against the outside events. Now going over to the second entity. Second entity is a dream. What is a dream? It is a succession of images. What we call it as a hotel of tired mind, where when you're tired, you go off to sleep, you get certain real and unreal pictures in there. So it is sort of a real and unreal service that is being given to your mind. And those images form your dreams. There could be some ideas which you're seeking. We have the famous case where we had the where we had Archimedes, if you remember. He was sitting on a pot and he just said Eureka when he was able to visualize the benzene rings, what he has been thinking about for multiple years, days, as what could be the answer of the structure. So basically, dreams also talk about your answers for the questions that are there. It also gives emotions and sensations which are pretty much subconscious to yourself. And they typically occur involuntarily, they wouldn't be voluntarily. And since they're involuntarily, it basically gives information which is inside you and getting surfaced. Now we'll try to relate these two entities. We discussed an organization has peoples and people have dreams. Great. Dreams are seen by people of an organization. When we are working as employees of the organization, when we join an organization, we have certain visualization as to how do we see this organization? How do you see become a part of the organization? Where do you see your growth as part of the organization? So the dreams are seen by the people of the organization for the organization. And those dreams actually become the dreams of the organization. Because finally, as people of the organization, whatever you're dreaming, you will try to put that into practice. And the moment you start putting that into practice, organization moves in that direction. And hence, it is favorably said that the organization dreams becomes the vision of the organization. Normally, when we structure the organization or any organization where you would have observed, you would see we have a vision statement, we have a mission statement, and then we have certain goals for the organization. Now, one could wonder as to where does the vision statement really come from. The vision statement really comes in from the management, its vision, its dreams as to how does it look like, how does it see the organization growing, and what direction they see the organization to be growing. And when the employees join the organization, if the dreams of the organization and the employees match, that's where the comfort level of the employee comes in with the organization and they start delivering better. It is favorably said that watch your thoughts, they become words. And watch your words, they become your actions. And your action becomes habits, habits your characters, and characters become your destiny. Why this becomes so important in here? Because your thoughts, which are leading into destiny, leads to the destiny of the organization. If we have positivity around on the flow in the organization, you will see organization growth happening. But if you have certain people on the floor who have negativity around them, then they will be speaking those negative words. You will have those sorts of actions, and invariably, it would be the whole activity would become an hindrance towards the growth of the organization. Now, what fuels the dream of the organization? Organization is actually in the center. Uh, and the things, the components that fuel it is the trust, the creativity which the employees demonstrate, the innovation which the organization nurtures, gives an opportunity to the employees to do something more, the value adds which an employee can deliver to the organization, the accountability that an individual holds for any activity that is being done by them towards the organization. Actually, if you notice, I specifically did not use the word growth of the organization because growth is a byproduct of the whole activity. The moment employees become accountable and they start working on it, organization certainly grows. There's no real second option available. And certainly transparency into whatever is done and and is delivered to the organization. Now, all of them you would see are critical factors for an organization to grow, and they really get tied down to your dreams. The way you have dreamed your organization and the future of the organization, the destiny of the organization. Now, in that, some of the organizations might be focusing on some factor a bit more based on the business of the organization. Like, for example, we all know Google. Google started as a search engine, but now it has spread into so many areas. How does that happen? Because Google gives a platform for its employees to be creative. Employees can come up with an idea and certain number of hours in a week they are allowed to work on an idea to demonstrate that their idea is actually workable. The moment they can demonstrate that the idea is workable, it immediately forms a task, and that's where the accountability comes in, which delivers the value add to the organization, and the whole thing becomes the innovation part of it. And how does it stand? It You would have seen some of employees They don't really want to share the ideas because they believe that their ideas could be borrowed by someone else or somebody else would take the credit of it. But if there's a trust factor between the employees and the seniors, then this sort of a balance is naturally achieved and the creativity gets a boost, which also results into transparency. Now, there are also cases where while these things are happening, employees start wanting more from the organization. So when the want starts coming in, it has been observed that it becomes counter effective because with the human nature of want, it really overpowers your creativity and innovation. And since creativity and innovation has been overpowered, yeah, employee lands up doing the daily rut of things. And since they are doing daily rut of things, it really becomes counter effective for the organization and its growth. So the what I would normally suggest is this is also very close to what we say in Bhagavad Gita, that do your job and the results will flow to you. So don't wait for the results, just continue to do your job. And that's exactly what happens if you start, if you're wanting more from the organization, it becomes counter effective. Now, when we try to fit the dreams to an organization, the characteristics that we are looking out for is the difference, the radical honesty that is there, extra value that can be delivered, authenticity, meaning, and the simple rules that could be there. Now, when we are talking about differences, it could be we should look at diversity, we should look at challenges which an individual is ready to take. We shouldn't look at people to, of course, they should blend as a team within the organization, but still hold their individuality within the organization. That is important. And there needs to be a culture of incentivizing creativity. You could be incentivizing creativity by creating a product out of it. And in some cases, maybe just give the name of the employee to the product in some way, or financial incentive, whatever. There could be multiple ways to do that. So that is how you really create a difference within the organization. When we talk about honesty, there needs to be transparency and people who can say, who are confident enough and understand that if you can call a spade in an open forum in an organization, that is a good place. That actually gives a strata for a growing organization. There could be multiple channels which you could use for that. And people, when they are calling spade a spade, they need to be feeling safe. Not that when they have said something, then you realize that somebody in the organization is coming behind them to say and ask for justification as to why you said that. Now, there are two things we need to understand. One is justification, and another one is understanding. Although both of them could be very close to each other, but the way it gets treated is important. Understanding is a dialogue where you try to figure out as to what's there in the employee's mind and and understand it. But on the other hand, you could be asking for justification, which is more forceful. The moment you ask for justifications, employees or the people feel unsafe, and you will actually see that communication channels are closing off, people just going back into their shells, and the whole innovativeness gets lost. You could also be talking about employee engagement and aligning that to the success. You need to be invariably, when you look at an organization, you have a spectrum of people. Some are top of the line, some are way down the rung. Now, if you take employees who are all in the top of the line, then believe me, it is very difficult to run an organization of that type. The best scenario is you have the whole rung, and then people supporting each other to get to the organization goals, and achieving the organization goals. You need to be thinking bigger. You need to create an environment where you talk about why. We have those famous seven whys to get to the root cause. But as an employee, you should have a liberty to ask why. That actually builds a team which delivers to the organization. And the simplest rule of all is practice what you preach, don't be theoretical. And before you start practicing whatever you're trying to preach, test what you're trying to preach. If you believe that what you're testing, what you are trying to preach is in the benefit of the organization, and you have enough information about it, go ahead and do what you have to, and you should be good. There's no problems with that. Now, since it cannot be a one way scenario, we should also be looking at the same characteristics. How does it fit an employee? Now, when we are talking about difference, uh, we need to give an environment where the individual can express himself in the ways, so that when the individual expresses himself, they have more liberty, they have more peace of mind, and that's where your innovation starts coming in. They start seeing things differently, and they will be able to contribute much more. Actually, when we say that think out of box, to achieve things, think out of box, you need to have the right strata for the employees to think. The right environment needs to be nurtured within the organization, so that employees get an opportunity to think out of the box. Now, not all out of box things could result into positiveness. They might be hindrance, but if we cut them off, and not groom those employees, you would actually realize that it's becoming counter effective again. So we should see from the eyes of the employees as to how they see things differently, and nurture them, so that the employees grows and you have value adds coming in to the organization. And believe me, in today's world, the way we are progressing, services are more coming to automation in the industry. And what will really survive is the IP. If an organization has an intellectual property, it will give multifold edges up to the organization. And to achieve that IP related concept, the best thing is you enable your employees to deliver what they want to. Of course, you have to partition the time as to the number of hours you can give for that sort of an innovation. You need to be honest to the employee as to what is going on in the organization. Now, interestingly, if you see majority of the organizations, we call it as organization as a tree, and all the lower, which is full of monkeys, if I can say. All the people who are sitting on top see smiling faces, which says that all my employees are happy. But if people from down there look up, they see that, okay, these guys don't know anything. They're just sitting up there doing whatever. That is because there's no transparency which happens, which flows from top to bottom. The moment transparency and the information starts flowing from top to bottom, you will see that majority of the employees will start appreciating what is going on in the organization, and not just appreciating, you will also see support coming in from the organizations. So as employees, I'm sure we are very close to relating this and delivering. So while we are giving this data, and when the employees see that yes, whatever they are giving is being, whatever they had dreamt of, whatever they had visualized is being accepted, they start putting in more effort, and there's an exponential growth in the individual's capabilities that is observed. And of course, it directly results into personal development of a person, and growth is a byproduct of the whole thing. Because of this, the employee now starts feeling proud of himself and also of the organization. So he starts relating to the organization as one to one. And I, I'm not sure, but quite a few of us are so close to our schools and colleges. Like, I might say I am an IITN. I might say I'm from IIMA. So, where does that linkage come in from? Because you feel proud to be associated with that name, and hence you're trying to associate it you to that, which creates an authenticity to it. There, the employee in the morning when he wakes up, he also feels that yes, I should go into office today. I should go to for my work today, and that energy is there to do the day-to-day work because they know that the growth is there along with it, and rules are there, but it will not hinder them. This is to achieve all these things, whatever we spoke of about the dreams and to the organization and dreams of the employees and how they dovetail into each other, we need to change thinking at the organization level. Now, this slide, which I have just shared with you guys, has three columns, which is old thinking, which has new thinking, and the next level of thinking. Now, the aim is as individuals within the organization, we need we need to graduate ourselves from wherever we are in the three columns towards the right. Now, believe me, we cannot be in the next thinking column parameters uh, at any point of time. You cannot be matching to all of them. If you can be, that's the best scenario to be in, but it would not really happen. you would grade yourself across various parameters at various levels. Now, the old thinking, I'll take the first two, which are really close to my heart. Old thinking was employees are the biggest risk, and they will they will take away whatever is there within the organization. So organization starts guarding their assets, and to some extent, Coca-Cola is one of them, where the core ingredient is still a close guarded secret, if we all know about it. The new thinking, which is sort of I do see specifically in the IT industry, where employees are being treated as the biggest assets in the organization. And the next level is where we need to start treating employees at par, because we together will achieve what we have to, the goals of the organization. We all dream, and we all, while we are dreaming, we derive a vision for the organization and we deliver to the dreams, and hence achieving the goals uh, and the vision of the organization. The second one, which is again critical, actually it is more communication is taken to be the most critical thing, where it defines the success and failure within the organization. The old thinking is typical that it's a top down communication, which typically is taken as a diktat. So my boss told me, and hence I will do this thing. My senior told me, hence I'm going to do this thing. If you are not my senior, I'm not going to listen to you. Whereas the new thinking is having an open communication channel. So it could be from any direction till the time it is for the benefit. Let's do it. Let's assimilate the information, package it together, and see how we can use it. The while we are doing this, we start cutting corners, because we are not just doing open communication, but we also majority of the times become selfish and try to safeguard ourselves. And when we are safeguarding ourselves, the communication, although it might be open, but it's not 100% open, and it is no longer certainly honest. So what we are proposing is a honest communication that should be coming in, where you can say what you have to, and the other side will understand it, and accordingly the things would move. Now I really don't intend to run through all of them. I'll possibly give a pause out here for you guys to run through it, and jot down some points where we can answer the questions during the QA session.
So can I go ahead with the question? Yeah.
No, we still have a few slides, I believe.
Okay.
So they can just jot down the questions and then we can take it up further.
I have already requested them to do so.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, Radhika. So, what are the challenges that an organization face? Is retention of those constructive dreams. If you see the dreams continue to change, but if an organization has to change that, if it has to change that frequently, it is difficult to grow the organization. So the best thing is it needs to build up stage by stage, and it is something like a building being built. You need to make the ground floor on which you can make the first and the second and the third. You just can't decide being on the third floor that let me demolish the ground floor. So we need to make sure that the dreams are constructive in nature and they are being retained because that's how the business grows. And if needed, recapture the benefits what was observed in the previous stages so that we better appreciate as to why the lower levels are required. Sometimes it would mean that we are coming out of a comfort zone. And believe me, if the world is too small, you are always at the edge of everything. If you are not at the edge, it is famously said that you are taking too much of space. And if you are not at the edge, you are in the comfort zone. So I would really request all the members to get out of their own comfort zone and be at the edge, because that's what is a defining parameter today as to how you would grow, and in turn you would be visible and the organization grows. Now this is an interesting one. If you see, in the center is a comfort zone where we as human beings tend to slide very easily, where everything is safe, in control, there's low risk. And interestingly, when there's low risk, there's low rewards. And what we need to do is to achieve the dreams of the organization, we need to go towards the growth zone. And when we are doing this, the first we would get into is the fear zone, where we will have lots of gossips which are going on in the organization. Individuals will feel themselves down. You will find people giving excuses that I don't want to do this thing, or this thing will result into so many issues. Let's not do. So, but you will certainly find certain people who will start coming out of the fear zone into the learning zone. Now, when you're in the learning zone, you will start understanding, you will start solving problems. And once it is more of like if you see someone doing that, the other people start following it. So slowly the organization starts moving into the learning zone. And the challenges are being faced, they are being resolved, new skills are being acquired, and every majority of the staff or the people have actually come out of the comfort zone, which typically leads into the growth zone, where every one of us as employees are hyper about what we can do as an individual for our own self development, and we have started living our dreams in the organization. Now, there are certain questions which needs to be answered. The questions which need to be answered by the leaders within the organization is, why should anyone work here in this organization? The answer to that would be interesting and would give a lot of insight to the organization. The manager should ask, why should anyone be led by me? What great I am doing out here? Why should anyone, like in this case, why should you guys be listening to me? And that's where Mr. Pandey gave my introduction to you guys. So, well, similarly, managers should do introspection as to why anyone should be led by me. Individuals should question, why should I continue to work here? Am I doing some value add to the organization? Am I doing value add to myself? And when you are about to join an organization,
बस जी
hello,
एक मिनट एक वन वन मिनट
hello,
Please continue, sir.
okay. So the question which a potential candidate could ask is, why should I join them to work? What, understanding the organization, what can I deliver to them? What is the confidence that level that I run with? So when across the organizations we start answering these questions, why, we are in a better position to set the goals of the organization, to set the dreams of the organization, and organization starts becoming uh, accountable and truly well-oiled machine, delivering to the goals and the vision of the organization. So that's it from my side right now. Radhika, I would be open to questions.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Uh, so the first question goes is that good employees leave because of bad top hierarchy managers. So how like that has to be resolved? Yeah.
Okay, so again, it is famously said that you join an organization and you leave your manager, and that's exactly what you're trying to say in this question. So, as an employee, if you are reporting to someone and you're trying to change that person, it's difficult. But when you grow into the hierarchy, you need to start creating a culture where the introspection of the manager start happening. Exactly the second question on the screen, as to why should anyone be led by me, and that would help. That would certainly help. Basically, at all levels, you need introspection to happen.
Thank you, sir. The next question goes is how to manage mid-level managers to senior communicate with down the lower management and the senior management visions.
Okay, so vision is something which gets propagated top down. It is not a middle management vision which is there. Now, leaders create the vision and managers execute on the vision. And when we talk about the middle management, managers have translated the vision into activities and tasks which the middle management is trying to execute with the help of the lower management. So, when we are talking about vision of the middle management, you could talk about dreams of the middle management, which you could, again, this is a very important part from the HR perspective, where HR creates an environment where all the employees can contribute to potential changes that can happen in the organization, like innovation box where you could just scribble something, some ideas, and drop it for people to pick it up, and you could get involved. So typically that's the thing which organizations try to use. And when they see that there are quite a few inputs which are coming in for certain vision, you might even see that the leaders are modifying the vision statement of the organization.
Thank you, sir. The next question goes is how to deal with difficult employees.
Okay, so employees could be difficult in multiple aspects. Like they could be typically we deal with soft skills and the technical skills. If your employee is difficult in the technical skills, you possibly know how to manage him around. You'll basically create a performance improvement plan for that person. And if that person improves, great. If he doesn't, you find a way out. But if there's a soft skill issue where technical, this person might be a star of your team, but this person might be running with an attitude. And if that is a scenario you're talking about, then you need to figure out as to, is that attitude for a specific person, or is it in general? Now, if it is in general, you need to figure out what contributes towards that attitude. If the person feels that he's too good, and that is the attitude that he runs with, and while doing the root cause, you actually realize that that person is good, which means that you are underutilizing that person. So you better start utilizing that person, and this problem would go off. The other could be, you could see that this person has an attitude with a specific person. In that case, you just need to change the reporting hierarchy and you should be safe. Worst case scenario, if the employee during the root cause you find that he falls into neither of the categories and he is not blending with the organization, which means that there's a disconnect, and then you possibly need to figure out ways to part.
Thank you, sir. The next question goes is lack of trust towards employees and manager. How to trust them?
Trust only comes by actions. So if you do the actions, and whatever actions are done by managers or as individuals, the people who are observing, if they believe that the actions are right, trust starts building up. But if they believe that the actions are not favorable, then the trust starts dwindling. So it is not something which you can go and fetch, but it has to be built over a period of time. So that's a difficult one, but you really have to work on that. It's not easy, guys. Normally, trust and faith go hand in hand. If you have trust, you will have faith in that person. Yes, Radhika.
Yeah. So the next question is uh, actually it is by Pandya sir only.
Okay.
How can a small scale enterprise or entrepreneur become competent to manage the growth?
Okay. See, okay. Organization has certain phases of growth that they go through. It's a cycle that they go through. Now, at certain point of time of their growth, they would realize that they have hit the glass ceiling, and and it becomes difficult for the processes that have been pushed in for the organization which are being used to break the glass ceiling. And to break that glass ceiling, you need external help, because internally the risk taking capability is typically very low. Now, if you still want to achieve it, what you could do is create a small team outside the structure and ask them to work in a different way, which will give growth to the organization. And once this pilot is successful, you can merge the rest of it into that team. But you need to be careful, because when such changes are happening in the organization, there are a lot of cultural changes which are happening, and there's a lot of what I should say, people are in the comfort zone. You are really shaking them out, and normally people don't like it. So you need to be very careful. But yes, it is possible, not that it is not. You just you need to make sure that when you are doing every step of the activity, there's absolute transparency and buy-in from the members of the organization.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We still have 8 minutes to go. So can I go ahead with some questions?
Sure.
Yeah. The next question is that uh, question is that okay. He had gone burned. Yeah, he have burned his hands with a bad partnership with successful business.
Okay.
Though left it because partner was from family only. Question is that what lesson to take out of it? Should keep family business away from businesses? Should family be kept away from business? And how to choose partners in future, if any, or going solo is the best?
Okay. So going solo or going partnership way is purely your risk-taking appetite. And if you believe that you know the business well and you don't need help, go individual. Because the moment you go individual, it has its advantages and disadvantages. Advantage is you're the sole decision maker. Whatever decision you make, you implement and things happen. But when there is, like you mentioned, there's a growth, a successful business which was there. When there's growth in the organization, you tend to become overconfident. And if there's no counter check, then you could be taking decisions uh, which are just exponential for growth. There you have to keep control on the growth, else you will lose the whole thing. Now, coming the counter side of it is partnership, where you have partners coming together. Yes, there's a collective decision which is made, collective wisdom which comes in. Now, there's a counter check which happens out there. I believe that is good. The next question potentially which you have asked already is there whether I should take someone from the family. Is it okay or not? For me, till the time you can keep your personal and professional separate, you're good. If you cannot, uh, please get away from your families. You will be destroying the relationship with them permanently.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, senior managers seldom manipulate while reporting to the top management and show wrong image of the employees who are truly honest and sincere. So what is the way out?
Okay. This is we during this discussion we did briefly touch about it. Uh, when such a thing is observed, now I am assuming that the employee is not overconfident while saying that he is good and the credit is being taken by the seniors. So, with that assumption, when we say that the senior has either put the junior into a poor light or is taking the credit away, it basically demonstrates the capability of that senior. For me, that senior is very uncomfortable. He possibly is on the edge in terms of he is very unsecured about his job. There is something which is disastrously going wrong in his life, and that's when he would be doing that. A lot of it could also be towards the capability of the manager. If the manager does not has the real capabilities and they have been pushed into that position, then to justify that they are good, they will try to use these tactics. But it is for the senior management to see through it. They can easily see through things if they want to, and then such managers get exposed.
The next question is, shouldn't organizations involve employees at all levels of organization to participate in the vision adjusting phase?
Employees should participate, and that's what exactly I preach. But again, it cannot be a democratic way of going through because 100% democracy does not lead an organization anywhere. So the inputs could be taken, but they need to be consolidated and rolled up to form a single vision. When that vision comes up, some of the employees would feel that they have been left out. It is quite possible because when the roll up is happening, certain data points are ignored. Some people might believe that it is not true interpretation of what they thought, although it is very close. Yes, even that is possible, because when we are rolling in, we try to make it as generic as possible and still be specific. So, to answer your question, yes, they need to be involved, but the end result is not what they should be worried about. Okay, till the time they are able to align to the vision of the organization, that should be good.
Thank you, sir. There are many questions popping up, but due to paucity of time, I'll take the last question only now, sir, and then I would. I'm sorry, participants. I know this topic is so extensive. Yeah. So the last question I go is that, according to you, according to you, what is the one thing due to which startup or organizations fail?
For me, over ambition fails. For me, that's a keyword. We are when we are looking for a startup, we have an idea, we all gung about the idea, we want to push it, and finally, if the idea is good, you will find people who are trying to eat away your credits, and they will not support you if you don't give them the credits. All sorts of things happen, and you will lose steam because of certain negativities coming in, but you still have your ambition up there. So my take on this is, for a successful startup, you should you should have your own vision, but have intermediate milestones and goals which you need to achieve, and keep them in clear view, achieve them consistently, and you will be a successful startup.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for patiently answering all the questions. I hand over the session to DL Pandya, sir, to conclude.
Thank you very much, Agarwal sir. It was really a very insightful analysis of how to connect organization and the dreams of people at various levels, starting from defining what is organization, and then what should the employees at different levels, whether leaders, whether managers, whether individuals, or whether candidates who are going to join, should be asking for. It was very, very interesting, very, very interactive participation also. And uh, particularly, you touched upon the issues related to the small scale and family businesses. So it was really a very interesting aspect to look at. And last but not the least, the key phrase that you gave about not being over ambitious. So it's really very true. So thank you very much, sir. And on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and for your time and for your uh, insightful presentation. Thank you very much. And
And
I also thank, sorry, sir. I also thank very interactive participants, a small group, but very interactive group. So thank you all who participated, and thank you very much, sir.
So from my perspective, I would want to thank you all, starting from AMA, to give me this platform to speak on to. Pandya sir for introducing me, and Radhika, who has been coordinating the sessions for us, and the participants who have been asking questions, which really are brain teasers, and it makes me think as to what could be the right, being situational, as to what could be the right response to it, so that it is palatable. So again, thanks a lot to everyone for hearing me out and attending the session for me. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Have a good weekend to all.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.